Yo, welcome back to an episode of Geek Centurions, me, your boy, Eli.
It's me, Joe.
So, we recently talked about some stuff with anime. We used to talk some stuff about movies. I think it's time we talked about comics and what's going on in the world of comics. Well, as many things start, many things end. Some would say a little prematurely.
Uh-huh.
So, this is coming right off the heels of like New York Comic Con. It's been a week since New York Comic Con, so I know some people's like, isn't this a little late? I'm like, yeah, but like we still want to talk about it. Plus, like I think the main issue is some news things came out. So Marvel recently released a new line of comics, and so did DC. And the idea of these two were essentially to make something that is a more entry point of interest for those who want to get into comics. For DC, they call it the Absolute Universe, and for Marvel, the Ultimate Universe. So we those of you who don't know, the Ultimate Universe was originally a line of comics that came out in like the 2000s. They're essentially where Miles came from, and they kind of had their own little story, own little thing going on. Instead of the Avengers being called the Avengers, they were called the Ultimates. A younger Peter Parker, a younger Fantastic Four team, so on and so forth. And so Jonathan Hickman came back and wrote a series of books that led to the revival of the Ultimate Universe. So essentially, it's not, I wouldn't say revival, but like a new take. And it's for both Marvel and DC, DC's Absolute Universe. They've been hits. They've been fantastic. People really have enjoyed them. Um, you could see people really talking about each one of them in a different sort of way. For those of you who've been keeping up with DC's Absolute Universe, Absolute Batman is the is the thing.
Yeah, especially considering the design choice they made of Batman, where he's just an absolute unit.
Absolute.
Yeah, it's funny, and all his villains are very interesting. I mean, I think I saw.
Eldritch monsters looking.
Yeah, I think I saw what absolute Joker is supposed to look like, and that's just sort of like one of the more unique takes on Joker,
Yeah.
but also just like Jesus Christ.
Yeah. No. Bane is just more muscle, which, of course,
Yeah.
you can't. There's nothing else you can do. Just add more muscles. Like I don't know. You can have that kind of muscle.
It makes Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was in his heyday jealous. That's
Yeah.
that's the type of muscle he has. Um,
Yeah. That man loved to work out. We all know that meme.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no. So those have been successful, and they have brought new readers in, and each sequential, substantial story is like being very enjoyed. There's some that are like, wow, this is something I didn't expect from like one of the big two. Like one of the ones I think about recently is Absolute Martian Manhunter, which has like, because Martian Manhunter, he kind of like he's a shapeshifter and stuff. In this one, he kind of like goes into people's bodies and kind of reads their minds and like their emotions, and it can become like I recommend reading it because like the art is amazing. I don't know how they're gonna end up putting them all together in like a Justice League book. I kind of don't want there to be a Justice League book because like it takes away from the artistic beauty that is that book.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think each one of those comics has its own unique art style, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean every comic does,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
when you get to like say like an Avengers, Justice League, Titans, it's all like
yeah, yeah.
it,
Uniformed, yeah.
yeah. So it's like it. I don't want it to happen, but I'm not gonna be against it. But like, let's just say the art complements the powers.
Mhm.
So like to do that and like it's kind of hard to recreate because it's when someone's own style.
Right.
But so the reason we bring this up is because yes, these books are very popular, uh, but Marvel is choosing to end the Ultimate Universe soon, and that's very interesting and very disappointing for a lot of people because it was only so Hickman is a fantastic writer, one of my favorite comic writers. He is very meticulous. He is very much like, I am planning everything out. Here are charts and graphs. I am not kidding when I say charts and graphs, because that dude also had like a graphic design degree, and he will use his graphic design degree.
Gotta make use of it somehow, right?
Yeah, somehow.
Yeah.
Somehow. He mostly writes, but he'll use it. Like, if you ever read the Krakoa era of X-Men, there's nothing but charts and graphs. Like, every other page is a chart and graph. But to more to the point, he always envisioned it to be a short, limited series. And now that it's ending, a lot of people were wondering, hey, maybe you can keep this going. It's very popular. It's doing everything that everyone wants, especially with Spider-Man, because that's the one that started it off.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, when it came to, I guess, the revival of the Ultimate sort of series, and with Spider-Man, like, they did something unique and interesting, which was have Peter be sort of a middle-aged man when he gets his spider powers. He has a wife and the kids, and Ben, I think, is still alive.
Yeah.
In this one, right? So like,
they made a lot of interesting changes that I remember a lot of people being really interested in.
yeah, like, it sort of flips the script on like Spider-Man, because I think obviously like the big thing about the Spider-Man comics at the moment has been just sort of the very interesting story that's being told, right? Like,
You say interesting, but
I say interesting because obviously a lot of people have a lot of problems with it. So
so many. I'm one of those.
yeah, so the fact that they Marvel introduced the Ultimate series again and have a brand new take on Spider-Man, it gave people a fresh outlook of just like, this is kind of what I want for Spider-Man. This is kind of what I want for the actual mainline Spider-Man stuff to be. So it is. Yeah, I can understand why it's very sad for some people. It's like, no, this is the only good Spider-Man thing that's happening right now in the comics. Don't come back.
Ironically, it's that Batman meme of like,
oh, and
no,
the parents,
the
like,
parents are disappearing. Like,
yeah,
no, don't go,
don't leave me, not again.
no.
This is where I watched my parents die, Raphael. Oh, cowabunga, dude.
Cowabunga, dude. Pizza.
But yeah, it's yeah, I understand it. Like, it definitely seems a bit
Because
sad.
you haven't read any of them.
No, I haven't, but from what I understand of it all, it's a fresh take on Spider-Man, and it's sort of like, okay, this is kind of cool.
Now we're
Actually,
specifically talking about Spider-Man.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you haven't checked out any of the books.
no, because I'm pretty sure, what was it? Like, how much? Cause, I mean, wasn't there an Ultimate X-Men comics?
Yes, and that one was written by and drawn by Pete Tomoko, who is a Japanese artist, and she kind of gives it that like manga feel of it, and like it's really good. They really like sort of like challenge. Not, I wouldn't say challenge. Challenge is the wrong word, but sort of flip the script on like the idea of mutants and stuff like that.
Right.
And like, what does it mean? Like, something you're used to when you would see like in the regular main universe. It's a little more streamlined, and a little more interesting in this Ultimate universe. And it's also funny because like almost all and you just think of an X-Men character, they're probably gender bent to Asian girl. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because for me as well as because I think funny enough, I remember the old Ultimate series, and I think I remember owning at least 2 of the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, because I do remember that that like, it's basically the same concept as before, because that one, those Ultimate comics were just like, hey, let's just reintroduce a bunch of the Marvel characters and sort of like more updated, like modern times kind of thing, like modern retellings of their origins and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, Ultimate Spider-Man obviously starts with just Peter Parker, but it's like him and MJ meet in high school, when in the original they obviously meet until college or whatever, right?
Yeah, they meet until college. They've always insinuated they're like next door neighbors, but it's like one of those things like, how often do you not know the next door neighbor?
Yeah.
It's one of those things, but like that one really emphasizes like the fact that him and MJ were essentially childhood friends, and it also established like him and Eddie being like friends as kids.
Yeah.
Because their parents were both scientists. Where main universe, like the guy he just happened to work with.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, it's yeah, I do find it a bit interesting because I mean, it's like one of those, like again, it's like you said, you get it because they said it was supposed to be a limited series anyway, right?
Hmm.
But at the same time, you're kind of just like, it's one of those moments where like, well, the money's coming in, right?
Yeah.
You feel like you have an excuse to at least a little bit to extend it a bit longer.
Hmm.
But I mean, from what I understand, it feels like maybe it's a bit ending a bit sooner than people expected it to end.
Yeah. So like in universe story for Hickman stuff and this Ultimate Universe, it was supposed to be only for 2 years, and we've gotten essentially those 2 years in universe. So we're kind of like wrapping it up because the whole pitch, it's really like convoluted because it's comics, you know. The maker who was from the original Ultimate Universe, you know, decided to remake it in his own image,
Mm.
and so that's kind of why things ended up the way they were. Like, you know, Peter not being bit by the spider and stuff, and you know, certain people not getting powers or you know avoiding powers
Mm-hmm.
altogether. Like to give you an example, and I haven't caught up, but they introduced Matt Murdock in like the first issue of Ultimate Spider-Man, and he isn't Daredevil, nor is he a lawyer.
He's just a blind guy.
Who's a priest.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he like even you're like, huh, I'm intrigued. And this is he's at a memorial for essentially just you know some stuff that happened in the previous book, and you know Harry Osborn's there. He's you know he becomes the Goblin, as they say, obviously, but he's not like an evil person. He's just like the Goblin.
Mm.
And then like you find out that he's married to Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, no, that's a little weird.
Yeah, it's weird because like you're not used to that idea, because you're always considered like Gwen to be you know Peter's girlfriend, and if you're someone who really subscribes to that his one true love, which I don't understand, just people, man.
You sure they're just shippers?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, isn't that just basically shipping what I just said?
Okay, I guess, yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, at the same time though, when it comes to alt universe stuff like this,
You have to make some level of differences.
yeah, you have to make some little differences, and also just sort of like it kind of comes with the territory,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, but it's so weird that we're just kind of ending it, right?
Yeah, like no big monumentous.
Well, it's gonna be a big monumentous thing, but it just feels like, man, like especially with like I'm gonna use like X-Men, right? Peach Momoko is like we said was writing and drawing it. She says like, man, I wish I could do more. I have so much more ideas. This is like it's one of those things where I'm like, guys, I think we can still keep this going. The money is coming in. Just give it to a different writer.
Yeah, I think I was also gonna say like because I mean I feel like the original Ultimate stuff. I mean, yeah, that lost a long time when you think about it, because that stuff started at the early 2000s and it ended what in like what
2014.
2014? Okay.
2014, 2015.
Yeah, so that I mean obviously that's a long time, but I mean it's the whole point of the Ultimate, at least this Ultimate version of Marvel is to sort of like introduce new ideas, but also just sort of get newer people to read the comics and stuff. It does seem a little not antithetical, yeah, to like sort of just end the run when a lot of people are getting really into these stuff. You could just stretch it out a bit, but I don't know. It's one of those things of like you're not sure if it's partially because on creatives terms of like, hey, I feel like this should end here. Let's just end it at that,
Mhm.
right? Or just one of those things of because it doesn't seem like it'd be like an executive decision.
It kind of felt was. There's John Layman. Let me see if I can find that original article. But essentially, there was like a. I'm getting this from Pop first, but it's yeah. Yeah, this isn't like they're shutting it down. It's the end. Like once it's the end kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's coming from like one of the publisher, one of the guys in charge.
I don't know. It also just makes me feel interested because I'm like thinking to myself of like, well, oftentimes, well, not oftentimes, but it always feels like they want to try to incorporate a lot of the more popular elements of like the alters, like the
Mm-hmm.
like other universe stuff in Marvel into the main timeline, but I don't really know if they would ever do that. At least for this version of the Ultimates,
Yeah.
comics.
Because like that's how they brought in Miles and stuff, right?
Yeah, because Miles obviously, knowing his story from the Ultimate Universe, right, and like the whole Secret Wars comic event that brought all the universes together and to
Mm-hmm.
reestablish just one singular Marvel timeline. Um, and obviously like Miles is there now, like
Mm-hmm.
officially with Peter, So that's a it's sort of something interesting, and I'm kind of like thinking to myself, because obviously people really like this version of Ultimate Spider-Man, right? But it's sort of hard to like even try to incorporate any of these elements considering what's happening in the current Spider-Man comics right now.
Yeah. And we're mostly talking about Spider-Man because that's the one that like.
Well, yeah, it's the obviously one because it's the most popular ones because like it's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like him, Batman, and Superman are like the most popular heroes.
Right. Oh, you're forgetting Wonder Woman.
Well, that's why I said three. If I include Wonder Woman, it's four. Like, listen, I listen, I get it. It's Wonder Woman, but like, listen, it's you go in order. It's Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure those are.
No,
Like,
nothing against Wonder Woman.
no, yeah, this is not to go against Wonder Woman. I like Wonder Woman, you know, but at the same time, it's also just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, those tend to be the highest selling ones, which is the sad part.
I mean, it is what it is, man. They're the most well-known heroes because they're also just like I guess the three most relatable ones. I guess. Well, I guess yeah, because Superman is the eternal Boy Scout. He's the OG, right?
Yeah.
Batman, he's cool, right? Dark brooding,
Mhm.
and then you have Spider-Man, who is basically was always designed, I think, by Stan Lee to be sort of like the everyman, like
Mhm.
kind of thing of like you can relate to this guy.
You know what it is? It's that there's not enough. There was never enough like material outside of maybe a show or movie for Wonder Woman. Well, like
That yeah, I
that's
would
kind of
also,
why people would tend to put those three as the top because there's like nothing. Sadly, there's not much for Wonder Woman outside of.
she would have had a game if they didn't close down Monolith Studios or whatever it's called. Or was
Yeah,
it? What was
yeah, I
it?
think it was Monolith.
Yeah. Or am I thinking of something else?
No, yeah, you're right. They closed down that studio, and then there's also like the fact that you know there's only one good Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah, I was about to say like even then it's often been sort of looked at as more of like it's good for what it is kind of thing, right?
Yeah, because there's a lot of things about him like looking back on. I kind of wish it was kind of this way, which is
Yeah.
sad part. And that's sad because like Wonder. It's even funnier. Like absolutely, Wonder Woman's like one of the better ones too. A lot of people are really loving that.
Well, I was gonna say
Like out of the three, the Trinity, it's like Batman and Wonder Woman, and Superman's like started off great, but it's kind of like middle now.
mhm.
So it's like people do love Wonder Woman. She deserves to be up there. But just like for a reason she hasn't broken that glass ceiling yet.
I mean,
Well, she has, but she hasn't broken it enough apparently.
yeah, I was gonna say yeah, but speaking of DC though, like it is sort of interesting because you see the reactions to the Absolute series, right?
Yeah.
And sort of just like, well, obviously DC's not gonna end that anytime soon.
Yeah.
So it does beg the question of like, well, Marvel seeing a rival competitor having their own alt comic universe starting up around not at the same time, but like basically within the same time period,
Mm.
and it doing successful. It feels like you kind of sort of like, all right, we have the classic competition. Let's see how long.
Yeah,
this one
we
can
can't
go
end
out.
this. No, we can't end this. We'd be buying out too early.
Yeah, so yeah, it's one of those things where you kind of look at it and it just kind of goes like, I don't know. It's one of those things of like, again, I respect, I guess, the artist's decision to wanting to end early because I think sometimes at the end of the day, the artist kind of knows best. Like I'm thinking of like stuff that ended kind of that could have maybe gone on for longer, but ultimately ended, I think, at the right time. Something like I think a classic example would be like Breaking Bad. It only had like 2 seasons, if I think I recall
No,
correctly.
a little longer than that.
Longer than that?
Yeah. It had like up to like 3 or 4. No, they try to avoid doing 9 seasons.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. That was what I was going to try to build up to, though.
Yeah.
It's a lot. As a show, it's considerably shorter than something like The Sopranos or even like something like Game of Thrones or whatever. Right, like the creators kind of knew where they wanted to end, and they sort of
Yeah, they had 5 seasons.
yeah, they knew where they wanted to stop, they knew where they wanted to end, and then that's sort of the cutoff point. Like I'm pretty sure, obviously, like the executives at the time were probably like, no, we got to keep going, right? This is Breaking Bad, it's a good show, getting all the reviews and stuff like that, and ultimately, it's up to the creatives. They're like, nah, I think this is where I want the story to end. Let's build up naturally to that, right? Like something like when you compare that to something like I'm gonna say Game of Thrones, right? Like clearly, yeah, they knew where they wanted to end, but at the same time, they didn't. They kind of ended that too soon, I guess.
No, yes, because Martin said they had enough for like maybe 2 more seasons, but they wanted to really finish it up.
Yeah, because what was their names? Debian Weiss or something like that.
Yeah, Debian Weiss is one of the guys, and I forget the other guy's name.
Yeah, point is
they were called D&D.
Yeah,
both names start with D.
And they also really they got a big deal to do some Star Wars movies, and I'm pretty sure that's half the reason why they sort of rushed the end. And then they didn't get to do any of the Star Wars movies. Sort of one of those classic tales, Ellie. Just one of those like you get a promotion to a new thing, and then you kind of bungle up your current job, and then it's like, oh, well, never mind, I don't want you here anymore.
Yeah,
like,
because you like torched and blazed before you got here. I can't trust you.
Like, but Star Wars.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand where you're coming from too, because it's like the one main criticism I tend to hear from people who have a hard time getting into comics or anything like of that sort is like, I don't know where to start, and like because it's so long, and so like you gotta like read 50+ years of like Superman, Batman, or Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, like so on and so forth, right? Well, with this one, it's just like, here's the beginning, here's the middle, here's the end. There you go. There you go. That's all you need. Because like, it's one of the things I always hear about people who are like, who talk about the I guess what makes, I would say, even manga better. Like, there's a beginning, middle, and end. You don't have to worry about like all that stuff. To which I'm like, yeah, but like that's just nature of the beast, though. How many times do we still have things that are still going?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure there are a bunch of daytime soap operas that are been going on forever. What is it? Grey's Anatomy's one. I'm pretty sure off the top of my head.
That's still on?
Yes, Grey's Anatomy's still on.
That cannot be true.
No, it is true. It is very true. Grey's Anatomy's still going. The Young and the Restless.
22 seasons? That's like.
Yeah, it's been a while, dude.
I mean, The Simpsons has been going on forever.
Yeah, that's on what, season 25, 20, 26?
37.
30. Jesus freaking Christ. Dude, that was in like that show was in the teens when we were kids. Now I'm thinking about it, which just goes to show how old we are.
Well, the show started in '89.
Yeah, but my point is though, when we started watching it as kids, at least my first memories of it, we were already on like season 10 or 11. I'm pretty sure.
Probably somewhere around those lines, cause
and obviously, obviously that's the I guess the con of trying to go for too long. You become something like The Simpsons, that just But at the same time, that's just how comics have become, like over the years anyway. And they've, I think both Marvel and DC have done their best to try to, address those issues. DC with its constant Crisis on Infinite Earths and all this
Oh, they
other.
stopped doing that, dude. They still have Crisis, but they're not like resetting anything.
But my main point being is that was the thing they used to do.
Yeah.
Like that was the thing they used to do to try to like update the comic stuff. While Marvel kind of just goes, yeah, it happens all the time. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I've always saw it more as like a sandbox.
It happens whenever you feel like it.
Like whenever you feel like it's your time to bow out, you can bow out. And like like I've never been one to be like I just want it to end. I'm like, nah, it's fine. Everyone has a story to tell with these characters, and the problem is when like the stories don't do much or just don't go anywhere or just play too safe.
Or retcon stuff that
didn't
happens.
feel need to be retconned.
Or
I mean, like fucking Venom is the Donny Cates run was a retcon of a lot of stuff, but then again, like no one really cared much for Venom like that.
Right.
And then like you have like the Immortal Hulk one, and then that's like top tier, like good written story, or the Chris Claremont run. Like there's a beginning and end to it. It just depends on who you on like you as a person, really.
Yeah, and that was something I think about too when it comes to comics is that it's one of those things of like people say like, oh, where do I start? It's kind of like one of the things of like just start with like an issue 1 of like whatever comics happening right now, and then just go from there. You don't necessarily need to know the entire history of the fucking of a said Marvel character or whatever. You kind of just go into it.
Yeah.
Like
you're supposed to head dive deep into it.
Yeah, it's one of those things of like you go at it at your own pace,
and
you see where you like stuff and where you don't like stuff, and I'm pretty sure, and that's sort of how I view comics, at least when it comes to like something like manga or whatever, right? Because obviously, yeah, mangas have starts and ends, but even when you look at like certain mangas, like sometimes they'll just stop because the publisher is like, nah, we're done with you. There's probably tons of different, like tons of mangas that have appeared over the couple, decade or whatever that have started, have good starts, and then ultimately are canceled and then have to quickly patch up like a conclusion, and it just feels very
they fizzled out real fast.
Yeah, like not every manga is gonna become a Naruto or a One Piece. Right.
Or a Bleach or a Chains or a second. Yeah, I think oftentimes a lot of people tend to forget like there is a even with comics there's a sea of different books out there for you to read. Even like it's like just you can find something there. It's not just Shonen or Marvel or DC kind of thing.
Yeah, because I mean hell, I was gonna say like what was it, Image, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different like sort of I do not know why I want to say third-party comic publishers.
They basically are.
Yeah, but like I guess indie is probably the better
term. Indie is the better. Yeah. But like even going back to like the absolute and like ultimates, like they're made to be more like I don't want to use the word palate cleanser, but it's more like a way for people to get into a lot better because like a lot of people. Absolute Batman is doing numbers. Ultimate.
Because it's a fresh history.
Yeah.
You're just starting at zero.
Yeah.
Compared to some of these other comic.
And it does do like something different that where like instead of Bruce being like a rich billionaire, he is a middle class kid, a guy basically, who like his traumatic event wasn't the death of his parents. Well, one of, but it's also being around, a traumatic history thing that that could happen to anyone nowadays. And so, like, you can remake these characters and to refresh them and make them something that is not only modern but like a good way for people to jump back in. And it's even kind of funny with like knowing that and then choosing it to end it because like we're so used to comics going for so long, like for a long time.
Like I said earlier, like the original Ultimate Universe lasted like 14 years basically, or at least 10.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking of my brain correctly.
And they were written and drawn by like one team. And that's kind of like the Not the sad thing, but like the thing that I feel like a lot of people get annoyed with, like in comics, where like they will see a cool artist and writer, and then at some point the artist either leaves or has to work on the project that's coming up.
And
So
then
they have different.
yeah, different art style appears, or like or it's the other way around of like a different writer shows up and it's just completely different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is like because that never happened in the original Ultimate. Like Ultimate Spider-Man, the original one was Bendis from beginning to end,
Mhm.
and here we had Hickman for beginning to end. And it's kind of like I get it coming from the perspective of a comic book fan. You expect it to go longer, but I mean, I'm not happy with it. I don't say that I'm not happy with it because I kind of wish it could go a little longer.
Because it's like they got the sauce and you're like I'm into this. Why stop?
Yeah, and actually that is the most of the main worry too is that it might wrap up in a way that's like unsatisfactory.
I mean, yeah, who knows? I mean, if they felt like it's the time to end, hopefully they have a satisfying ending. So at least then you could be like, okay, I can see the vision in a
Yeah,
way, right?
because like don't get me wrong, there are some stories I'm like this could have gone on for like another 1 or 2 seasons, but you can never have that. You can't go in thinking it would have been great
Right.
because chances are it was not going to be great. Like we were talking about like some mangas that they ended a little too late, or that one arc, that last arc went a little too long.
Yeah.
That went a little too long, and that the last plot lines did not make any sense.
Mhm.
Like I get it, but it just no, it didn't work. It didn't work for me.
Right.
And that could be too with comics. And this one, I mean, it's dumb because honestly, they could keep it going. Though I am now just realizing that Absolute might end too.
I mean, is there any sort of inclination from DC as to why they would end it, or?
No, but like something tells me that at some point this won't last too long, especially with the way I'm thinking how Ultimate Batman is going. Absolute Batman, sorry.
Mhm.
Because like they're he's gearing up to fight Joker, and he's not going up against any of the other rogues because the way they were introduced with the rogues is that they were his friends who all suffered all the same trauma,
Mhm.
and like they were forced to become the things they become to know. So like Two Face, he has his own little origin, yada yada. But basically, yeah. Uh, Something tells me like this one is also gonna be playing on ending, but they just had it planned a little longer.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I'm speculating now, but I think that's about all I can say without just looping around to like the same conversation points.
No, I mean at the end of the day, it's one of those things that like you feel sad about. You kind of question why. You kind of understand maybe some of the reasoning, but ultimately you're kind of just. I think most people, or at least comic book fans, are kind of just like, well, can't we just like have it out just for a little bit longer? Like.
Or at least like let the ones that need to end it the way they want to end it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Peach Momoko really wants to do more. Like she has more ideas. And I'm like, well, let her keep doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Ultimate Spider-Man, sure, you can end that one. Ultimates, you can end that one. You can definitely end the Wolverine one. I read a little bit of that one. It's not. I don't think it's the best one. It's probably the weakest one of all of them. It's just like, okay, sure. I mean, yeah, that one can end. Nothing against the writer for that one. It's just like, I feel like this is feeling a little disconnected with everything else. So I kind of like.
Right. Right.
Yeah. But I think that's a good place to end it for this episode. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to follow us on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you'll find a link tree to all the podcasts that we're officially part of, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, and a link to the YouTube for all you guys who want to put a face to the voice. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and a page for informed support. And we'll see how this turns out. But anyways, it's been me, your boy Eli.
Be Joe.
Guess have a good one. Peace.